And welcome back to the new episode of the Geek Centurions. Me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
Didn't realize to pull off the Jeff Hardy finger poses there.
Was that?
Yeah, because he goes like this.
Yeah.
Matt goes like this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering early 2000s wrestling, yeah, I think that's how that works. Anyways,
You see the writing on the walls.
that's his. That was Jeff's old theme, right?
His theme before after they did the whole dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's the Hardy Boys thing.
Yeah.
I think. Anyways, we're talking about Daredevil, right?
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll talk about wrestling.
I mean,
What can we talk about? Just like
the good old days when we watched it, and I mean, I don't know. I think wrestling's in the news again nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of gotten some of its luster back, but I mean, you know, that's cool. New generation's enjoying it, so that's pretty cool.
John Cena turned heel.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's old news now.
yeah, I guess in terms of when this video comes out, yeah. So the fact that we know about that just shows you how crazy wrestling's been going on. But anyways,
we're here to talk about Daredevil, Born Again, specifically the recent 2 episodes, 3 and 4. It's just wow. Here I was worried about it being a little too topical. It stays that way, and honestly, it'll depend on how it keeps going. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about that movie. Mostly because we kind of didn't have time for thinking about a new episode. Well, more we did have time, we just didn't have time to, time it right. Because I kind of wanted to talk about the new Looney Tunes movie.
I just didn't get a chance to watch it, and
It's a good movie. Go watch it.
yeah, especially considering that Warner Bros. Decided to give it to a third-party publisher, I think, or distributor.
Yeah.
To distribute it, and it's in very few theaters as far as I saw.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those like, I mean, how is this movie gonna make money when you barely even advertised it?
It's already made half of its money back.
Which is, that's fine. That's good news, right? It's just fucking what's his name, David Zaslav, man. He's an asshole.
Yeah. Let's jump to the other big corporation going on right now. So, Born Again. What do you think so far in these last 4 episodes?
Well, I mean, I think it's I'm still really liking the show. Obviously, you get that bit of courtroom drama in episode 3, right? Like,
It's honestly more courtroom drama than the last 3 seasons of Daredevil, and I'm not against it.
No, I mean not either. I mean, because I think at the same you're building up to Matt getting back into Daredevil, which is like sort of the end of that 4th episode, basically. I mean, heck, the fact that the description of the episode for episode 4 is like both Matt and Fisk are sort of very clearly like wanting to,
return to
their former selves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll talk a little bit of what we learned at the end of episode 4 with Wilson Fisk, but I mean, Kingpin, right? With his whole shebang, but I mean, yeah, Matt kind of goes through it a bit. He tries to get his star witness. They more or less intimidate the dude so he can't testify. So he decides to say, screw it. Let's just talk about how he's Hector Ayala is the White Tiger.
basically out of the man.
Yeah, essentially in an effort to get him off of the charges, right? Because it's like, yeah, this guy's he's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
He saves people and stuff. And it is like one of those things of like that's the whole drama. It's a very sort of nice tone of like, can they sort of like wing it? Basically,
it was their only hope. It was like a whole hell of a gamble.
Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't have gone with it, but I kind of get what they were going with.
I do also find it interesting with Kingpin and his wife Vanessa's whole because that's sort of been explored in these 2 episodes of they're going to marriage counseling, basically, right?
Mm.
And it's a very sort of interesting sort of back and forth of them just because she sort of like describes like maybe the psychological reasons why she had to have that affair while Kingpin was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, oh, that kind of hits different now if you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cause I know I think this was in episode 4 actually where the therapist talks to Vanessa privately and sort of just goes like, "Do you feel safe in your marriage and stuff?" And it's like, "No, no, no. Fisk will never hurt me or whatever." Like,
It's everybody else I'm worried about.
yeah, which is like, yeah, that plays well with how Kingpin I feel like he's always been.
Mhm.
Like he would never harm Vanessa whatsoever because she is she is his everything, you know.
Yeah, no. There's so many times in like comics where, well, I mean, their relationship has always been kind of rocky, but there is no doubt in like anyone's mind that Fisk doesn't love his wife.
Mhm.
So it's like not that much like impossible to leave. But it's very much of like, okay, where does this go? Where does this relationship go? Kind of thing. And honestly, whew, just oof, especially with both of them. Um, it's kind of funny how the joke of or like I guess a meme from the people who watched the original Netflix run was whenever you knew shit was going down, whenever Fisk said, "When I was a boy, my father would beat me."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Uh, I guess very similar to Heath Ledger's joke going like, "You want to know how I got these scars?"
Yeah, yeah, it's very
You
much
know?
in that sense, and like he does that here too. But now it almost feels kind of in they kind of like flip it on it with Vanessa going with that. When I was a child, when I was a girl,
Mhm.
you know, I also had an abusive father. Well, I would say absentee father.
Yeah, yeah. Absentee, she just yeah, it's that's I think that sort of fits the bill, right?
Hmm.
If you're building that sort of character dynamic and stuff, right?
Yeah, like they both share like a common like issue with a parental issue, and like sometimes it doesn't have to be just like my dad beat me. It's just more like my dad was never around.
Yeah, where was I didn't have that emotional support that a parent should because he was busy doing X, Y, and Z. It's
And sleeping with other women.
yeah. So it kind of just it also highlights that like people like you can have different types of. I guess it's hard for me to say child abuse. Because
Trauma.
trauma, yeah,
Yeah.
probably better. People have their own sort of traumas, and it comes from very similar places. Like, yeah, my traumas from my father. He beat me up and stuff. Like,
He
he's
abused my
very,
mother.
yeah, that sort of thing. Well, my father also had trauma. I also had traumas with my father, except he was just absent from my life. I wanted a parental figure in my life, and he never was that guy.
No, yeah, he was never there when I needed him. He was never there to help me go through the trials and tribulations that I was having going to go
Yeah,
through.
yeah, growing up, right?
Yeah, it's funny how they both share this one thing, but it's not to say like they're not both warranted in their trauma, but it's like they're both taken in such different strains, right?
Mhm.
With Fisk, I would argue that for him it's control, right? Like you can kind of argue that his whole thing with this within the show is like he's trying to maintain control not only of New York City but also his love life, his marriage. He's willing to do this. He clearly doesn't want to do it, but he's willing to do this for her. But like he just like he's itching to get back to what he knows and wants.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and this is probably me just overly analyzing things, but I tend sometimes tend to do. But I kind of if this is what they're going for and this is what they're playing with, I kind of like it.
Yeah, and I do think it'll be interesting seeing how that, how their whole relationship sort of starts to. I won't. I hesitant to say
Crumble,
fracture.
yeah.
Yeah, fracture even more. But
Well, I mean, the one thing she asked was, "Don't hurt Adam."
yeah, which you know, if by the end of episode 4, I mean he kept his promise. He's not hurting him.
No,
If anything, he's keeping him safe.
you could argue that. He will need Matt to lawyer his way out of that.
Yeah, yeah. Just I mean the fact that they mentioned, well, they both like mentioned like I haven't seen him in a while, or like I don't know. They both just go, yeah, I don't know where he's been. It's like, okay, first of all, why do you know that, Fisk? Why would you know? Like, why would that knowledge be privy to you? Like, I don't know where he is. Like, why would you?
Well, he found out.
We do find out where he is. It's
I can't let you go because then you'll tell my wife.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, no. I think the other bit, if we're just to reel us back into episode 3 a bit. Obviously, well, not obviously, but Matt wins the court case. Hector Ayala, White Tiger, gets to go free. And
Yeah.
Not for long though.
Not for long.
Because episode ends with him essentially putting on his White Tiger costume, going out for essentially just a regular stroll through the city, just and then gets blasted away by some guy wearing
and like the most poignant way possible too.
It's not, yeah, because I was gonna say it's not very.
It's not heroic.
It is, yeah. It's not very. It's not heroic. It's not even. It's just very shot very nonchalantly. It's he just starts walking around patrolling, and then next thing you know, headshot. Unceremonious, no gratifying slow motion shot of like, oh, the tragedy. No, it's like getting hit by a car walking down the street, basically. Just comes out of nowhere, and you're just sort of
Truck coon, why?
It's
I'm making fun, but I'm also like it was so one of those moments where it's like there's no bombastic music, there's no sombering, it was just silence.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the groundedness of the show. Also, I mean, I was saying like the shooter is very much wearing Punisher outfit, looks like. I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, Punisher's in the show, but he didn't kill White Tiger, because that's not his MO. But, I mean, knowing what we know about how certain cops are brandishing Punisher-like tattoos, and there's like, I think there was a graffiti sign on on a building, like in a rundown place with like the Punisher logo on it or whatever. It just sort of shows that, yeah, there's probably some people around.
It would feel weird for me if it was like Frank, because it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, like I said, it's not his MO.
No.
Like, if anything, he's probably cool with
No, just wants to kill people.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Punisher's only problem with Daredevil, in the second season, whatever, is just that he doesn't, do the next step. He doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
Like, he's fine. He's more or less like, yeah, all right, fine, you can beat these people up, but you're not fixing the problem. Basically, is what he was felt like.
Was it you hit them in the head, they get back up, but when I hit them with the head, they stay down.
Yeah,
that's
something like
around those lines, and I'm just like, Jesus. Like, granted, I feel like the MCU's, because it's basically MCU, Punisher is a bit more on the sympathetic side compared to like his comic counterpart, who is like just, oof.
Yeah.
Like no, that is not cool. That's not a cool guy. I mean, here he's more like just full of PTSD.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, Jesus, this dude needs help. And he's just like angry at the world, kind of thing. I'm now thinking about like in one of the recent comics, I just remembered Jason Aaron's Punisher, which is like almost scarily good. They had like Frank's first kill when he was a kid,
Right.
wearing a Captain America mask, and
Oof.
burning a man alive.
Oof.
Just like, Jesus Christ. That's a little weird. But no, yeah. Obviously, there's a fallout to it. It's like, what does this mean? How did this happen? And like for Matt, that just meant going back to work.
Yeah, not fully, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely see at the end of the fourth episode, he's very clearly just like,
Might have to pick these up again.
yeah. And granted, that's also because we see Frank Castle Punisher show up in the fourth episode because Matt goes to the pretty much the scene of the crime. He finds the bullet casing. It has the Punisher logo on it, and he's just like, I gotta talk to Frank. Finds Frank, and he just wants to know, did he do it? Like, no. Why would it be me?
Such a great scene too.
Yeah, because it basically devolves into more or less Frank questioning Matt on like why he stopped being Daredevil. You know,
Mhm.
now essentially confronting him about the death of Foggy.
Because he hasn't been talking about it at all.
Yeah, he hasn't really much besides the initial first episode with the trial of with Bullseye and stuff,
Mhm.
right? And it's a very dramatic scene. Like
Mhm.
Charlie Cox definitely brought his A game because there's just
Mhm.
it was so good.
It was so
Both
good.
him and John Berthal were
Yeah.
very good in that
It's
scene.
funny because recently John Berthal came out about like, yeah, they asked me to come back, but the way they were writing it, I was like, I can't do this. This doesn't feel right to the character.
Mhm.
Which has been like a lot of talking points because like the show was rewritten. The question is like, what was it originally? And a lot of people are wondering like what that was because I know for like Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox is like, no, we need to get these right. This isn't where we like this doesn't feel right for these characters that we've been working with. And not to say like the stuff they weren't doing already before wasn't that,
Mhm.
like the stuff from Echo or the stuff from like She-Hulk, which is
Yeah.
they're their own little things, but they kind of make a point to it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's I think they wanted him to be a very jaded guy
Mhm.
of I don't know. That's how I feel like that might have been interpreted.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's just from how I see how he looks and dresses. Like, granted, like, if the problem was at the writing stage, those problems get fixed pretty early on. I feel.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. It's just something that I've sort of noticed, I guess, a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, because I have seen those comments from the actors, right? I mean, yeah, because we talked about it in the last episode where like it was like Foggy, the actors that for Foggy and Karen, like felt a bit of they do you kill it off a certain character and said this doesn't feel right or whatever, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, that's kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, because I mean, it is gonna be interesting to see how much of Punisher they use, because obviously, you know, um, they do have that sort of like setup with the cops, right?
Yeah, it's like because I kind of wanted to question why isn't Punisher out doing stuff, and maybe it's because I really doubt it is, but something may have to do with how these police are brandishing his colors or his logo specifically.
It's a funny way of putting it. Like, what colors does Frank have besides black and white? Like, they're just a bunch of like, looks like the Bloods and the Crips and something like that.
Like it's just
Like a bunch of gang colors. Like,
yeah,
hey, are you part of the Punisher gang?
it'd be really weird.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. At the same time, I could see what you're talking about. That sort
Mhm.
of like maybe he feels that like, cause I mean, he acknowledges them in that scene
Mhm.
of like, oh, just a bunch of weird fanboys or whatever, right? So it just he kind of knows that they're out there. He's just sort of like,
He don't care.
yeah, it's like they're a bunch of weirdos. What's that got to do with me? you know.
Mhm.
Although I mean, I definitely do believe,
Mhm.
um, whatchamacallit, that we probably will have him confronting at least one of those sort of cops.
Well, we have Matt confronting one, and it's clearly obvious that. I mean, might be remiss remembering, but how was that conversation going with him with that one cop?
Well, it was more of
Mm-hmm.
because he was still trying to investigate uh, who killed White Tiger,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because he felt like, oh, it was probably one of the cops, and obviously he was the cop that was at the train station. He was one,
Mm-hmm.
standing on trial. He also fought Matt at the apartment because he even brings up like, that's just weird, a blind lawyer who can fight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that whole conversation was just him trying to read him out because obviously the thing that Daredevil with his hearing, he can also hear heartbeats. He knows when people are lying, and I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure that was just him trying to suss out, like, are you lying to me? Are you?
Yeah.
And like obviously he didn't do it, but whether or not he was fully a part of it, you know, remains to be seen. But also he sort of like threatens him like, you could be in a lot of trouble for all the shit you've been pulling. you know.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I don't think this guy assumes Matt is the Daredevil or anything. But I mean,
No, no, I don't think. Well, no one knows Daredevil's blind.
yeah, that's probably true, right? It's just like Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer. I mean, he kicks a lot of ass. He kicked my ass, but no way is he Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's too much ass kicking for me. That guy kicked way too much ass for a blind guy.
He's probably one of those like rare karate guys who's blind.
It's like those old Jackie Chan movies.
Holy films.
yeah.
No, but it's very much like uh, a lot of questions to be are slowly being answered. We're left kind of high and dry. It's almost kind of like a mystery of like what's going on, or really just how far is Fisk's hands and everything.
Well, it's very clear that the gang, like the criminal underworld, is kind of just messing with him, not in like intentionally,
Yeah.
but it's like it's very clear that what he wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
his pure-hearted intentions, basically of like, oh, we need to renovate this place, and it's like, yeah, but the gang activity here is too high. We can't be, it's like all this
Yeah.
like red tape or whatever. Um, it's like one of the things of like, well, I could get them to stop, but that means I have to, get my hands dirty, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do. But it feels like ultimately that's what he will have to do,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, freaking Vanessa essentially has those guys like sort of like cool down after
Yeah.
paying them off or whatever, and it's like you can't be doing that because I gotta do this right. I gotta do this clean. But at the same time, he's a guy that's gotten everything through force, and now he's basically being forced down by all the red tape of like legal government. Is like, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of commentary about the system in this show. When you think about it, really wonders where this is gonna go to.
Yeah, I mean there was besides the whole White Tiger case, Matt has a sort of defense thing for this guy who I guess he's homeless,
Mm.
who just stole some food, and he's been like he doesn't want to be in jail, tries to get probation, and Matt can only get him like maybe 10 days, which is for a guy that's a repeated convict or whatever, it seems like a pretty good deal, but then he sort of goes on sort of a tirade of the system, right? Of like, man, like last time I was in here, I lost my benefits, like my food stamps. That's why I have to be, homeless and eating like shit out of the garbage or whatever. Now like I can't do this sort of thing. Like it's like ending with like a whole like you know they're spending more money on
Yeah,
putting
that
me.
was the poignant thing from everyone who watched this episode.
Yeah, like you're spending more money on keeping me here in prison when you could just you know spend less on just trying to feed me, which is like, and Matt very, he's like,
It's the
yeah,
Catholic.
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's at the one it's part it's like ultimately like Matt, as much as he wants to use the system of the law to work, sometimes it just does not
No,
roll that way for some
is
people.
the
Yeah.
system is either corrupt or it just doesn't play well with. isn't as fair as it wants it to be,
Mhm.
which is like very poignant to like Matt's like side of the law, while with like Fisk, it's more like I can't do what I want, what I need to, what I want because there's so much BS to go around.
Yeah. Speaking of Fisk, though, his little I guess his assistant or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I forget his name, but he's the son of the guy from Sopranos.
Yeah, yeah. Like he gets into a little bit of a controversy. He accidentally leaks like some cool, not cool, but
Yeah.
it's some sort of new project for recycling and stuff, and it's not great for the union or
Mhm.
whatever, something like that. He leaks it to the BB girl,
Mhm.
right? BB Ulrich. Um, who I mean, she keeps getting like her little vignettes.
Yeah.
And she even gets an interview with Fisk at the end of episode 3 where he, has that sort of thing of like these vigilantes, they can't be trusted, that sort of thing. He's like, but Hector Ayala, he was not guilty, he's jury, it's like juries get it wrong all the time, and it's like, oh,
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa.
feel like that might be a turning point for her character. It's like initially she's like, yeah, I want to get your message out to the people, and it's like, oh,
Funny thing is,
uh,
again, the funny thing is, this is the man that killed Ben, your uncle.
boy, oh boy, if she, I feel like we might build up to that one day
Mhm.
in this show. Like, kill my uncle, this fucking bastard,
You fat son. Well, he's not fat in this one, but you fat son of a bitch.
yeah. And the fact that like just anyways, like his assistant, spends time partying with her and just drunkenly talks about, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing or whatever. And it's like, bro, maybe you shouldn't hang out with some chick whose whole vibe is just doing her
Interviews.
own
Yeah.
doing her own
Investigative journalism.
investigating journalism on like TikTok or whatever.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, like yes, initially, it's like great for your political self to do that sort of thing, but then it kind of if they're a good journalist,
Yeah.
they're gonna hey, listen, it's like they gotta tell you
Yeah.
it was a little bit of a mistake. And he has a moment with Fisk, and then it's like, I like your honesty, kid, or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
respect that you took responsibility for yourself, but do it again. You did. Well, not you didn't
I mean,
threaten him his life or whatever, but it's like
he
it's
could.
very
He could
clear
have. He could
he
have.
could have,
Yeah.
but it's like it's like I feel like this kid's gonna die one day. Like I don't know. I don't know, man.
It's gonna be. He's gonna be eating in a diner with "Don't Stop Till We Leaving" playing in the background.
And then it just cuts to black.
Exactly. He went out just like his dad. Well, not really like his dad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not much to say. Just like this, all the show is still pretty good. I think. Oh yeah, they teased Muse at the end.
Well, yeah, he gets a bit of it, a bit of an intro at start of episode 4, and then at the end, just draining some guy's blood.
Hmm.
Uh, I
Muse is kind of like basically a serial killer.
okay, alright, that
He showed up in one of the comics. I don't recall which one, but he's not that far off from a recent edition. Like I would say like early, no mid to early mid 2000s to early 2010s. I want to say is when he came out.
mm,
Uh, though I'm wondering how the rest of that stuff's gonna be played out. Though, but like I feel there's a lot of stuff going on, and now my main worry is how are you gonna be able to juggle it? 'Cause you got the Fisk, Daredevil, King, Punisher, Muse, the Hector Yalla thing. Well, that was
oh yeah, I guess you sort of tie that story not. Although, I think I asked this earlier when we were talking about it a little bit before recording, of like you have the niece show up,
yeah.
who
Because
I assume because I know that there's a female white tiger in the comics. I think, right?
yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I forget
So
her name, but I wouldn't surprise me because I could have sworn it was supposed to be his daughter, but niece daughter. Either way, familial tie, family tie.
yeah, because the thing is that you give Matt both the suit and the amulet back
Mm.
after the whole autopsy.
Yeah.
So in my brain, it's just sort of like, I mean, I guess that's planting the seed for the
Mhm.
next white tiger. I don't know. That was just something I was like,
Oh yeah, because I remember the power comes from the jewel.
Yeah, it comes with the Jew.
Yeah, so that,
Unfortunately, it does not give him spider senses because he would have seen that bullet coming.
it
I'm
doesn't make
just
him
saying.
bulletproof.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's still human.
He's only human after all.
Yeah. Well, as much as I can say about this episode, it's been pretty solid. You got anything to say?
I mean, no. Besides the fact that, like, again, I'm very interested in where things go. Obviously, the show does very well in hitting you with the emotional gut punch. It seems like every other odd episode. And yeah, I just can't. I'm on to be honest. I am hoping that we get to see Matt put the suit back on, go to work, figure out what the hell's going on in this city. Because quite frankly, that'll be interesting. Well, meanwhile, Kingpin just has a guy in a freaking cell underneath his house, I'm guessing, or some sort of warehouse.
It's something.
He just eats his dinner while this guy's like, just let me out, please. I won't touch your wife again. It's like,
it was just one time.
It's like, listen, Vanessa said to keep you safe, not to harm you, and that's what I'm doing technically. It's what I'm doing technically. Just don't let her find out. Well, that's why I can't let you leave. Actually, I can't let her find out. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. I mean, this was like what, 8 episodes, 9 episodes?
9 episodes, so we're like half.
We are, yeah, about the halfway point. So it is
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see where it all goes, and we do know there's a second season coming out.
Yeah.
So that's all good. But yeah, I think that's all we have to say, right?
Yeah, that's all. I don't know why I was thinking about the math. I'm like, wait, no, yeah. It all fits. Anyways, if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us on all social medias: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're most active on Instagram, where you find links to all podcasts that are officially part of, like our podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and all the like. And we have a YouTube for all this method who like to put a face to the voice. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and Patreon for more support. It's me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
Yeah, Daredevil's been solid. Go check it out. Anyways, yeah, have a good one. Peace.